On Monday, January 8th, Mr. Steven Handlow, a professional teacher trainer, started a CLIL Essentials program at the European School. CLIL stands for Content and Language Integrated Learning. 15 subject teachers participate in the training course. Actually, the course supports teacher to use English effectively and confidently in subject classroom. Mr. Steven, he will share his experience from the past week with us. Mr. Steven, could you please explain details of the course, aims, duration, structure? Give us more details, please, about that.
Yeah, okay, so every day we had approximately 5 hours of input. As you said, one of the aims was to give support to teachers in using English in their content areas. But of course, it's not just English language, but also methodological input. So techniques that they can use in order to support student learning in subject areas which are delivered in English. So that was the overall aim of the course. And so each session focused on a particular aspect. You know, so for example, we focused on lexis. There was focus on teacher language, there was focus on scaffolding, which means providing students with support in order to be able to do a task. We looked at assessment, and finally, and most importantly, the course participants themselves had an opportunity to show what they already knew and to try some of the skills that they'd acquired in micro-training. Micro-training meant that the participants taught everyone else in the group for 15-20 minutes, and then they got some feedback from other participants. So it wasn't just theoretical, there was also a practical component as well.
What do you think? What are the biggest benefits for the teachers out of this course? What they will be able to teach better English through the subjects, or
Okay, I think the real benefit is that in any profession, not just teaching, is that you never stop learning. Okay, and so I think first of all, many of the teachers will have received validation that the things that they are already doing, they're doing well, and you know, that their language also is good. That would be the first thing. I think the second thing is that hopefully they will have got some new techniques that they will be willing to try in their classrooms. And thirdly, I think that they've got to know each other really well as a team, working together, etc. And they realise how much they can actually learn from each other. And so I hope that in the future they will continue to observe each other and to meet together and swap experiences.
Let's ask one of the participants. Anna Chakhnashvili, she is a psychology teacher at the European School. She teaches in American high school, so she completed this course today. Anna, what was the most valuable benefit you think you gained out of this course?
I think it was very important to work with the fellow teachers here, because we don't usually have a chance to organize a group meeting to have a discussion about our teaching habits and all the activities that we do in class, and just having them there to give you feedback and having them evaluate your aspects of a lesson planning or something like that was very important. Also, it was very good to see what you were already doing, but in a way that made you focus on things more clearly. We might use some techniques in everyday teaching, but we don't usually, in some cases we may not know what is that we were doing, what is the importance here, and what we have to underline in every academic activity, and that was a very good
Thank you. Benefit. What were your expectations towards our teachers in the beginning, and does the outcome and the result you achieved match the expectations you had in the beginning?
Yeah. Okay, I must confess that in actual fact I am quite familiar with Georgia.
Oh, really?
Yeah, and I've actually been, this is my 8th visit to Tbilisi, and also I am quite familiar with Georgian schools. Initially, when I first got information about the participants, it concerned their language ability. and they were given a test called APTIS, and they were given a European Common Framework level, and they were all C, which is very high. So I thought, okay, we'll see. And yes, it was true that in actual fact their English proficiency was high, and the APTIS scores successfully predicted their ability. So it was good to get that information, and it was even better to find out that it was true. So in terms of their linguistic competence, that was great. In terms of their knowledge of teaching, I was confident that it would be quite, that it would be of a high level, and indeed that was the case. In actual fact, it was probably a bit stronger than I was originally anticipating. I think something which is particularly interesting about this group of teachers is that you have a broad range of experience. So you've got some teachers who might be a bit older, but they've got a lot of experience, and at the same time you've got a lot of younger teachers who have a lot of knowledge from studying, and also, and from reading, etc. And also they've got enthusiasm. And I think that when you combine these things, like a bit of experience, some enthusiasm, and the knowledge, then you get a really good mixture. And so they were able to learn, not just from the course, but as Anna said, importantly from each other. So in actual fact, they exceeded my expectations. Yeah, in some ways it was more difficult for me because, for example, they would often do things very quickly, and I had to find something extra for them to do, and I had to find ways of pushing them so that they reached into areas which made them think a bit more. So yes.
Anna, how do you think you will apply gained experience in your teaching?
I already have, actually. When I was planning the next week of the activities in classes, I already incorporated some of the activities that we used in the last week of training, because the activities were really varied, and that was a key point for me, because it kept being interesting. It didn't get boring throughout the day, even if it was a 5 or 6 hour day, because the activities were various. They included every part of the mental processes, and they included the visuals and kinesthetic senses and everything. So I made sure to include some of the points in my lesson plans too, especially with the younger students.
As I said earlier, as professionals, we never ever stop learning. And so to all of the teachers, you're doing the right things, you've got a lot of knowledge, you've got a lot of skills, but we can always improve. And so I'd just like to say to all the teachers, keep learning, keep improving, keep working with each other, so things like observing each other. And to the school, I would like to wish I'd like to thank them for having me here. And for the kindness and the hospitality, every day during the break, someone came with a cup of coffee and a cake, and of course this is nice. So I'd like to wish you all the best and lots of success for the future.
I met some of them, and every single teacher was very happy with this course. So thank you for that, for this very high quality training course, for being with us, for improving our teaching, for helping us to become better learners, better teachers. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much.